All right, so it looks like we've got our match started here. So the first thing uh, both of the players are going to do is going to come in here into this first shop in Cornelia, buy a hammer. Then they're going to change their configuration to put their cursor on memory. This allows them to do a glitch where basically they're able to convert that hammer into knight's armors by pressing R and X at the same time or L and X at the same time. It'll switch over to the other character and put the armor of the weapons with the same game ID. So in this way, they can get this knight's armor really fast, which is a really good piece of defense.
And this glitch is exclusive to the PSP version, and we're going to see it a bunch of times during the run. Also in the next couple of minutes to glitch the Judgment Staff, which will be very useful for the upcoming boss.
Yeah. So yeah, when they get into Garland's castle, they'll get that leather cap and use that to make the Judgment Staff. Another thing that you can do with it, they actually make a 5th knight's armor and then they sell it for money, and that lets them buy all the potions, antidotes, and phoenix downs that they'll need for the whole game. So now they're walking up to Garland's shrine up at the Chaos Shrine, and here's where they start getting into encounters, and you'll notice they'll just try and run away from everything because they don't have time to fight anybody. So getting 3 to 4 encounters on the way to Garland is typical.
And the encounters are probably the biggest RNG part in this game, because first of all, the amount of encounters you get, and probably the biggest RNG thing is that there will be some dungeons later in the game where you get encounters where you can't run away from, so you actually have to fight them, which will cost some time. So we really hope that both of the runners don't get too much of these encounters.
Yeah, so you're going to get encounters no matter what, but you really hope for fewer than average, and also you hope you don't get ambushed. That's the worst, because then you have to wait for all the enemies to get a turn to attack you. Even though they're not going to damage you much, you're not usually at risk of dying, except for a few special circumstances. It still just takes a long time, so you want to avoid those ambushes if you can. So, yeah, it looks like Marsh is on Garland right now, and he's just as simple as just attacking him, and he should go down in 3 to 4 hits. Yeah, the Judgment Staff doesn't have a ton of attack power, but it's enough to defeat Garland in 1 turn. So now that Marsh has defeated Garland, taken the princess back to the castle, and then they're going to go and talk to the princess here and get the loot, which this item is absolutely required to finish the game. About halfway through the last dungeon, you'll be blocked if you don't have the loot. But in the PSP version, you actually can't miss it. If you try and leave that room without it, she'll call you back, and it wastes a little time to do that, so you talk to her first. But that loot will be important in an hour and a half or so.
You will also notice that the runners try to avoid the forest because the encounter rate in the forest is higher than on the normal grass. And also the encounters, especially at the beginning, it can be a bit tricky because you don't have equipment which helps you to run away from, which will change a little bit later. But especially at the beginning, there are a few encounters that are faster than you and attack you even if you try to run away, like the wolves that you're probably going to see.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to see the wolves. They're bad. Those are probably the worst. And then there's some encounters on the sea that we also really don't want to see. But as far as on land, wolves are probably the worst at this stage of the game. Reboot here is on this cutscene at the bridge. PSP is the only version in which that cutscene is skippable. So once it starts, you just mash the button and it ends right away. Every other version, you have to sit there and watch it.
And while the runners are walking to the next town, let's talk a bit about the Judgment Staff, because you actually can use items that you have equipped as like a normal item out of your inventory. And that Judgment Staff actually casts Flare, which is the strongest spell in the game. And the upcoming boss, it is actually just a mini boss, but the Judgment Staff will help you to defeat those immediately, depending on how fast your mages are going to, cast it.
Yeah, so looks like these pirates are attacking first, unfortunately. I usually actually have 3 characters use the Judgment Staff here because that makes you just that much more likely to go first. But I don't know, 2 is a little faster with the menu, but 3 probably guarantees you might attack them first before they attack you. So it's looking like a really close race here. They both just defeated the pirates, and now they have a ship.
Let's see if anyone goes for the 15 puzzle.
Yeah, it's unlikely. Going for 15 puzzle, especially in a race, is extremely risky. So for those who don't know, when you get the ship, there's a puzzle you can do with the sliding block puzzle. And if you defeat it between 30 seconds and 60 seconds, you have a 1 in 6 chance of getting an emergency exit, which can save a lot of time in the Earth Cave in a little bit. But it's a 1 in 6 chance, and you have to be good at the puzzle. So most people don't go for that, especially in this version. But it would be extremely risky in a race because you're just going to lose a minute right there 5 out of 6 times. So Reboot is going in here into Elfheim to get some golden needles. Most people get it a little bit later when they visit Elfheim for some other stuff, but it doesn't really waste that much time to do it now. So it's a couple extra steps out of the way, but so you'll see he's a little bit behind Marsh. Well, actually, they seem to be like practically on the same step, but so he'll be that much more ahead when it comes to Elfheim a little bit later.
And
so now, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, even it is close now, anything can happen because
Sure.
is a thing here. So, but let's hope for the best.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like you said, even if they were neck and neck, or even if one was a minute ahead of the other, that can change just like that. You get into one bad encounter, you can easily lose a minute here, or anywhere, actually. So that forest that they just went through, that's one of the pain points when you're trying to get a good time, because there's just the encounter rate is so much higher on the forest. So it's kind of a pain because there's a lot of bad encounters in there. So you hope to get through that with as few as possible. And you can see, like, Marsh just went like 4 steps and got an encounter, and that's totally typical. So now Reboot is in the Marsh Cave. This is actually a low encounter area, so he just got an encounter on the first floor, which is, not the best, but it's not completely not unheard of to go through this whole cave in and out with 0 encounters. But sometimes you do get a couple, but in general, it's a lot less encounter rate than other places. All right, so Reboot now is going in here to fight the Pisco demons. He's going to use the same strategy of using the Judgment Staff to kill them. There can be between 2 and 4, and they can hit hard. So Reboot was actually, he didn't heal before this battle, which is kind of unsafe in a race, but it worked out okay for him. Nobody died. So now he's getting the crown. And this crown item is what we need to give to Astos for him to fight us. And there's a whole chain of kind of a fetch quest chain that's going to go on. So this is kind of the first step in that, is getting this crown in the Marsh Cave.
And as soon as they got the crown, they need to leave the cave and make their way to the Western Keep and defeat the evil elf boss Astos.
Yeah.
And he isn't really tricky, but he has this spell which is called Death, which makes obviously that what it sounds like. He can kill some of your party members, and we hope that it don't happen, and we really hope that if it happens, that it don't happen on one of the mages, because they will be our MVPs in the later game.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the mages definitely need to get experience so that they can cast some spells a little bit later in the game. So if the thief or warrior dies, that's okay, because that's just more experience for the mages. But yeah, so Astos is kind of, he has, like you said, he can use death. He has about a 50-50 chance to use death or do a physical attack. So what you really want to see is that physical attack. But hopefully, as long as he doesn't kill anyone, they should be able to kill Astos in one round by doing a physical attack with the Judgment Staff on the fighter and thief, and then the mages will use the Judgment Staff to cast Flare, and between those, it's you're about 95% sure to kill him in one round. But if he does kill one character, it might take a second round, but that's kind of rare. Okay, so he's used death on Marsh. It may not hit, but no, it did hit and killed the warrior. So we'll see if Marsh was able to get him down in one round. And it looks like he used death on the black mage on Reboot's side, so that's less good. Yeah, it's going to take a second round for Reboot. So Marsh is a bit ahead, but they're both going to have to sit there and heal everybody up, because you need your characters to be back alive again. Oh, Marsh looks like made a pretty big mistake there. He or she healed up the thief to full. We're going to need to kill that thief off a little bit later, so you typically want to keep him as close to 70 hit points or less as possible. And now it's a great hit point roll for the thief. He's already got 182 hit points, which is pretty big for this point in the game. But now, going to have to take some extra steps to reduce his health. But we'll talk about that sort of when it comes into the ice cave.
One of the best dungeons in the whole game.
Best, yes. It is kind of fun, but it's also very scary.
Yeah.
And your run can go to die there at a moment's notice. Anyway, so when they defeated Astos, they got the Crystal Eye, which, if you sort of play this game normally, you might have already been to Matoya's cave, and you find out she's blind, and once that Astos stole her Crystal Eye. We haven't gone there yet, but we're headed there now. So that'll sort of be the next thing in this fetch quest chain, is taking that crystal eye to Matoya. So we talked about certain water battles. The shark is not too bad. He can be kind of hard to run from sometimes, but usually he only appears with one or two of them. What they really don't want to see is the Sahagins and Big Eyes. Those guys are hard to run from, and their battles just take a long time, and there's a lot of them. So it looks like they both avoided them on the way to Matoya's cave, but there's more sailing to do, so hopefully we won't see it at all. But
And we also talked about RNG a bit earlier. I also want to mention that not only the encounters can screw you up, but there are also a few NPCs that can block your way. One of the most famous NPCs is probably the one in Cornelia in front of the item shop. But actually in this cave there's one of the broomsticks that can actually block your way. So you won't be able to leave Matoya's room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that can definitely happen. There's a couple on the inside, and there's one on the outside that you can't even see, and it can just block you from the outside, and you won't even know it, except for the fact that you just can't leave the room. So hopefully it doesn't happen. It's pretty rare. I'd say it only happens like 1% of the time. So they both made it out.
Nice. And they're very close.
Yeah, they're neck and neck right here. Yeah, that's kind of expected. If you look on the leaderboards, they're really close. They're like only 3 places apart from each other. So it should be a really close race, assuming RNG, doesn't screw one of them completely over.
All right, what's coming up next? We got the Gel Tonic from Matoja, which helps us to wake up the sleeping Elf King in Elfheim. And as soon as we did that, we get the Mystic Key. And with that, we can get the Nitro Powder to open and blow up the canal in the west to go to new seas and go on our real journey, our real adventure to defeat the 4 elemental chaoses.
Yep. So, see there, Marsh just got the Mystic Key. And like you said, we need that to get the TNT in Cornelia. But first, we're going to take a little detour here and go around the outside of the castle. And we're going to pick up another item, Mithril Hammer. And we're going to use this to glitch Thieves' Armlets on everybody. And with the glitch, you can glitch it onto any armor spot. So we're going to be able to give 3 Thief Armlets to everybody, and this is really going to increase their agility and make it a lot easier to run from enemies. So this is one of the more difficult menus in the game, in my opinion. You've just got to do a lot of them. There's like 12 glitches you have to do back to back, and it can be frustrating if you miss it several times in a row. So now Marsh here is going to go and pick up those gold needles, which we need to cure stone just in case one of our characters gets petrified. So they're going to buy 11 gold needles just in case, because it can happen multiple times. So Reboot won't need to do that. Once he's done with the menu, he'll go on because he already got those gold needles.
You also notice that the runners don't equip anything on the shield slot, because if you do this, the game can actually soft block. There's only one item you can equip on the shield slot, which will be the ribbon, and we're going to see this a little bit later in the run.
Yeah, that's the only item that's worthwhile that you can. I believe there's like 1 or 2 other ones, but most of them, basically, if you were to block an attack, it would try and bring up an animation, and the ID of The ribbon just so happens to have an animation associated with it, while most items do not have that. So it actually, like you said, crashes the game. So that's why they only do it on the three other slots besides the shield. But it's going to work out pretty nice, because then we can have 3 slots for the agility increasing items and a ribbon at the end of the game.
Right, Rebot just picked up the nitro powder and is going to leave the castle. Marsh is already on his way to Mount Durega, and he's fighting the big eyes, which isn't a bad idea because they
I would do that.
Yeah,
I would do that in a race. It can just lose you so much time. It's better to take a small time loss and defeat them than to take a big time loss by trying to run 2 or 3 times and failing. Yeah, Kebeth in the chat, it's okay if you lose the Judgment Staff on one of your characters on that menu, because we're about to get a much better weapon called the Barbarian Sword, and you won't be fighting any battles between now and then, so it's okay if you mess up the menu and lose your Judgment Staff on a character.
And even if you do, it's very easy to get it again.
Yeah, you could just re-glitch it, but it's totally not worth it, since you aren't going to fight any battles, and it's still in your inventory, so you can use it as the flare if you needed to. So now Marsh is on one of the longer cutscenes in the game, where we very slowly blow up this canal. But it is a chance to take a breather and just sort of, mentally prepare for the rest of the run. There's a couple of cutscenes like that. After each elemental fiend you defeat, you've got about a 45-second cutscene. So this game moves pretty fast. You're always going from one place to another, but there are a few chances to take a break.
And in the upcoming town, there is actually one of my favorite menus, because we're going to glitch one of the strongest weapons in the game, the Barbarian Sword. And the cool thing about this glitch is that every character can get that weapon. So we're going to see some bell mages with swords running around and defeating demons. And I personally like this menu because you also have to deal with switching the formations, which is very, very cool.
Yeah. So we'll see it in a minute, but yeah, they're going to basically buy a mithril axe, and the warrior is the only... the steel gloves. My apologies. That's a different menu. The steel gloves, and the warrior is the only one who can equip that. So you have to do some maneuvering of your party around to get everybody next to the warrior, basically, in order to glitch it onto them. So Marsh is about to come up and do it. So we'll just kind of watch, and you'll see about halfway through she'll switch the black and white mage position. All right, so now everybody has a barbarian sword, and like Indy was saying, this is the most powerful sword in the game. You can typically only get it by defeating the final boss in the final optional post-game content dungeon. That's where you actually get this weapon, and you only get one of them. And now we're less than a quarter of the way, or about a quarter of the way into the run, and we have it on all 4 of our characters. And it's just going to completely destroy pretty much everything that we come across. So yeah, so now Marsh is in the Cavern of Earth, and this is a dungeon that runners will be very familiar with because we go through it quite a bit. So on the third floor, which we're about to get to, is the vampire who's guarding a ruby, which we need to get the earth rod to get to a cave that has the earth rod, which we need to then come back into the earth cave to use the earth rod to get to the bottom of the earth cave and defeat the first elemental lich. So we go in halfway, come out, and then we go all the way in. So we're going to be seeing quite a bit of that over the next 10 minutes or so. So Mick Fruit in chat, after you have the strongest weapon, obviously you don't worry about your weapons anymore, but there will be more menuing to get better agility items on the armor. And also there is one menu for the final boss of the game where we will give our white mage a different weapon because it has a higher magic stat, which will let us heal enough to heal off Chaos's attacks. And other than that, it's just go through the game as fast as we can, pretty much.
And most of the bosses you just one or two shot, but there are actually some bosses that you have to do special threats, especially at the end of the game. And also some bosses that can kill you, like the upcoming boss Lich, who has a spell which is called Blizzaga, I guess? Or was it
Blizzaga, yeah.
Blizzaga, yeah. So yeah, if you wanna be safe, then you're going to save before that, because there's a chance that Lich casts Blizzaga and kill your party.
Yeah, definitely in a race, you must save before Lich. It's probably about a 20% chance that he'll go before you and use that spell, but it's a very real chance. It's also wise to save on this floor of this cave because there are enemies called cockatrices, which can turn you to stone, and if they ambush you, they could potentially turn all 4 of your party members to stone before you even get a chance, because they can come in packs of up to like 6, I think, in this dungeon. So it's definitely a wise thing to save here. So here's a 2 cockatrice ambush just on Marsh here. Fortunately, I'll see. The thief got turned to stone, and we've got gold needles so we can heal it, but you can't do anything about it if they all turn to stone. It's game over at that point.
And not sure if you mentioned it, but there are also enemies that can paralyze you, and the paralyze is going to stack. So if they are managed to paralyze your whole party, then it's almost ripped.
Yeah. So yeah, the like you were saying, some of those undead enemies, like we see over on Reboot's screen right now, they can paralyze you.
Like in Reboot Fight, oh boy.
Uh-oh. So for me, I usually try to run, but if I get 2 of my characters paralyzed, I definitely kill them just to be safe. Oh, he ran and he got lucky and ran away. But yeah. Yeah, if you get all 4 characters paralyzed, then they can just keep hitting you and re-paralyzing you. And they only do like a couple of damage at a time, but you can waste a lot of time before you break out of it. Or if your health is low enough, you might not break out of it and die. So.
But correct me if I'm wrong, but the first 2 characters get hit more often than like the mages.
Yes, that is true. The breakdown is there's a 50% chance they'll hit your first character, like the warrior now, 25% for the second character, the thief, and then 12.5% for each of the mages. So you'll definitely notice that as you're going through that just your first character just gets hit a lot more than anyone else. So yeah, it's good to know that so that you can know like to expect your mages probably won't get hit as much as your warrior will, but you never do know. They can just go straight for the mages. It all just depends on your luck. So Marsh had just went through the giant's cave and gave the star ruby to that giant who was blocking the path, and now is here entering the sage's cave where there's a guy just sitting here who has the earth rod, and he gives it to you, and that allows you to get to the bottom of that earth cave.
And now you saw that the Cavern of Earth is a very, very annoying place. And if you would have done the 15 puzzle and got the emergency exit, you could just skip the leaving and save quite a time.
Yeah, that's true. Like right after, if you get the emergency exit, then as soon as you defeat vampire, you just can use it and you're out of the cave. But like I said, the 15 puzzle is the only way to get emergency exits at this point of the game. So, and it's just the odds against getting it are so great that most people just don't do that. So I guess one thing we haven't really talked about is the makeup of our party. You might say, why this party? Aren't red mages good? So there's a very specific reason for each character, and so for the warrior, it's the fact that he can equip so many items that allow us to glitch. Okay, without the warrior, we wouldn't be able to get these barbarian swords. The thief is actually, while he was the worst character in the NES version, he's actually the best character in this version for dealing damage, especially at the end of the game. He gets more hits than the warrior does, and he's going to just do a lot more damage to the bosses, a lot more than the mages will, and a little bit more than the warrior will. We need the white mage for healing because chaos has a lot of hit points, and there's absolutely no way we could survive that without healing. And we need the black mage for a couple of spells. We need to teleport, which allows us to exit go up one floor of several dungeons and leave town, so it saves some time. And haste is another spell that the black mage is going to get. And haste is a great spell because if you cast it on somebody, they'll do twice as many hits as they would normally have done, basically doubling their damage. So he's a very important character. Yeah, Kibetha, actually, we do use two thieves in the all bosses category. Because we need higher levels for that category anyway, we have the white mage, and she can learn exit, which lets you leave the dungeon as well, but it takes a lot higher level to learn that we don't have time to grind for that in any percent. And then in all bosses, then the thieves can use haste as well, again at a higher level. So having multiple thieves would be great for damage output, but we just need all the characters for all the reasons I just mentioned. Otherwise, we would definitely have more thieves if we could.
And Landofus actually did a good point. We can glitch the Barbarian Sword without the warrior, but for that we need a ninja, and we only get that after the class change.
Yeah, fair enough. You would have to find some other way to defeat Lich without the barbarian swords, which might be difficult.
And one other thing we haven't mentioned yet is the specific amount of monsters you get in one encounter. sometimes you see that the party is using the judgment staff, and sometimes you see that they are just attacking. The reason is that if you just attack and you have more, no, 2 or 3 enemies, or 1, then it's definitely faster to just attack. But if you have more than 3 enemies, then it's definitely faster to use the judgment staff because of all the animations that happening.
Yeah, that judgment staff, the flare is extremely powerful, but it takes 8 seconds for the animation versus, I think it's like 1.5 seconds for a sword animation. So, yeah, if there's a few enemies, it's better to use a couple of swords. But if there's, like you said, about 4 or more, then it's definitely worth it to use the judgment staff because that will be faster. All right, so Marsh just defeated Lich. He did not use Bizarra. So that's the first crystal down.
That little cutscene you're going to see on March's end is the unlocking of the first bonus dungeon. There are actually 4 of them. You can enter them as soon as you defeated the elemental chaos, and that was the Earthgift Shrine. And in these special dungeons, you can defeat bosses from other Final Fantasies like 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that, like I said, I mentioned that all bosses category where we go into all the optional dungeons, and that's a lot of fun. It's a longer run. I mean, the world record for that's a little under 4 hours now, but it's definitely fun.
How much do levels matter during the run? They matter in the fact that we need specific spells, and you only can buy and equip them when your character's got a specific level. Like the spell Hilara we're using on the final boss. You need a white mage that is at least level 19. Otherwise, we can't buy and use the spell for it. And in the next few minutes, we're going to have a little grind session where we gonna level up our white mage and our black mage to that level, so they can learn those spells. So level is, yeah, in terms of those spells, very important.
Yeah, once we get level 19, we really don't care too much about levels the rest of the game. We'll get a few more, and we hope that it will increase our hit points, because hit points, especially on the Thief and Black Mage, they're Ninja and Black Wizard at that point, are very important for how you deal with Chaos, the final boss. But once we get, like you said, once we do this one grind, we aren't going to grind anywhere else. All right, so we've got Reboot coming up here on Lich. Let's hope he treats him nicely. We'll see. It's just completely RNG whether he uses Bizarre or not. And Reboot's in Crescent Lake now, so we're going to buy, we'll sell the Knight's Armors, and now we're going to buy some Ethers that we'll definitely want to use later in the run. High potions I usually don't get bought. That might have been a mistake. But so now we're also going to buy the Mithril Axe, and now we're going to do another set of menus. and we're going to glitch the black garb onto 2 of our characters, which is the thief and the black mage, and that's going to increase their agility even more than the thief's armlet. One optional thing is you can do a formation change there and glitch them onto the white mage as well, but Marsh didn't do that, and most people don't do that. It makes it easier for the white mage to run for a while, but it's really not, in my opinion, worth the time to do the glitch on that. So now Marsh has the canoe, which he can use to go across those that blue shimmering water. That's canoe water. The boat can't go in there, and the canoe is the only thing that can. So now that we have the canoe, we've got some more options open to us. We can either go to Mount Gulg or we can go to the ice cave, and we're going to go to the ice cave first. In the ice cave, we're going to get the leva stone, which will allow us to get the airship, and we can do that grinding that we talked about to get our characters up to the level that they need to be for the spells.
So yeah, let's talk a bit about the ice cave a bit more. We already mentioned that it is a very dangerous place. But the reason for that are that, like in the Earth Cave, there are enemies that are called cockatrices, which can petrify you, and even if you have bought gold needles, if you get an ambush with them and they petrify your whole party, there's nothing you can do about. And there's also a 1 in 64 chance to get a white dragon, which can be pretty difficult on that point.
Yeah, you should be able to defeat the white dragons with your sword, but if you get an ambush, they can use Ice Storm on you and just one-shot you, basically. Other enemies we see right here, Marsh is fighting those Pisco demons. Those are still unrunnables, so they have to be killed. They're not particularly dangerous, but they waste time. There's also dark wizards, which are pretty horrible. They are a relatively low chance, but more than the white dragons. Those guys can they can ambush you, or often you'll get a preemptive and just be able to run from them. But if they ambush you, they can use Faraga, and again, Faraga will pretty much one-shot you before the grind and like two-shot you after the grind. So they're very dangerous as well. There's also these groups of undead, like we see here, the Wraith and Spectre, which can paralyze you, and they're also difficult to run from. So we see Marsh here using an interesting strategy, which is to have 2 characters try and run, and 2 characters try and use the Judgment Staff. So you're hoping that the characters will run before the Judgment Staff is needed, but if they can't run, then you're guaranteed to kill on the same turn. So that's an interesting strategy. So right here, Marsh is saving. There's a spike tile right here, which means there's guaranteed to be enemies on this tile right beneath him, and it's going to be those same undead. It's sort of a random group of undead, and he's doing the same thing. Oh, he ran and ran. So okay, so here's these dark wizards we're talking about. Luckily, that was a preemptive, and he was able to run. So now, the problem that Marsh is going to have is those hit points on his thief are 161, which is definitely more than enough to survive a Thundara. And he went straight for the battle, so let's see what's going to happen here.
I also want to mention that Reboot just did the equipping glitch in Crescent Lake, and I also noticed that his warrior only have the knight's armor on, which can be difficult later.
Oh, the warrior doesn't have the thieves' armlets?
No.
Oh.
So we're going to see what happens.
Okay, this is bad. So
Because like we said, we need this agility in order to run away or have a better chance to run away.
yeah, that might explain why he's kind of far behind here. Just difficulty running. So on Marshe's side, he got in a bad situation with the hit points and just decided to kill, even though the warrior's still alive. But on this turn, most likely going to defend again and hope that that the warrior dies. Evil Eye should be doing Thundara. For some reason, does not want to do Thundara. Is using Gaze all the time. Or physical attacks. This is I've never seen this before. Where the Evil Eye just will not use Thundara.
Yeah, and now his Black Mage is very low on HP, so even the Black Mage won't survive with Pandara. So he have to do another round of Evil Eye.
Okay, now the warrior's dead. And so now we can just attack the Evil Eye and grind these two mages up to 18, or sort of 18 and a half. But that was kind of, I don't know, he kind of got lucky there in some ways. That the thief was able to get his hit points down, but that took a long time to get both of those two characters dead.
And Reboot just entered the ice cave, so let's see if he might gonna catch up.
Yeah, he can definitely catch up. His hit points are looking good for the warrior and thief. Well, the warrior just died to a crit from a specter, which that's kind of unusual. And Reboot's just going to leave the warrior dead. You know, we want him to be dead, but there's still a good bit of cave to go, and that's one less character to attempt runs, so it's kind of risky by doing that. Okay, so Marsh has got actually his mages are already at 19, so they're good. Probably over leveled a bit, but I don't know, in a race in your head that's probably okay. But yeah, most people stop after they gain 18. They fight one more battle, which gets them about halfway to 19, and then encounters in the Citadel will get them all the way to 19, which the Citadel is the next place that we'll be going.
Yeah, after getting the canoe, we're doing a little bit of side stuff before we continue with the story.
Ooh, Marsh getting a Dark Wizard, but running from it. That was fortunate. All right, and Marsh exits the ice cave alive, so that's definitely a good thing. Not everyone can say that. All right, then on Reboot's screen we see Evil Eye use Thundara, and both mages survived it, which is perfect. That's exactly what you want. And now he's going to heal up the mages. And you'll notice on Reboot's screen, his mages are on different levels. One's on 12, one's on 11. That's because the black mage died to Astos. So now it makes it a little more difficult when you're scrolling through the level ups to make sure that both characters are at the proper level without having to go into the menu and check. So now Marsh is taking the final ride in the boat. After that, we won't be getting on that boat again, and we won't be getting any more sea encounters, so that's a good thing. So we're taking that leva stone that we got that the evil eye was guarding, and we're going to bring it to this desert, and magic happens, and an airship appears. Seriously, I think the airship is supposed to be buried beneath the desert, and the stone brings it up out of it.
Also, when it comes down to the airship, the forest is even worse because you can't land on the forest. You have to land somewhere on the green grass, which makes it a bit harder to go to your destinations.
Yeah, so you see, Marsh just landed there in a tiny little patch of green grass because you can't land on the forest, you can't land on the swamp, you can't land on the desert. Only the green grass is the only place where you can do it. So now, going to have to take a little walk here to get to the Citadel.
The reason why we go to the Citadel is we want to do a class change, and there's an NPC which helps us or gives us the class change, but we have to prove him our strength, our courage, and to achieve that we need that rat's tail we're going to get in the Citadel. So we need to pick that up, go to that NPC, and get our class change as a reward.
Yep. So that's the primary reason for going here, is to get the class change so that we can get certain spells. But there's other good reasons to come here too. Is there's a couple of items that we're going to want that are available here, which are the healing staff and the gauntlets. As you see right now, Marsh is going through this sort of teleporter maze, which looks complicated, but if you just remember, always take the one on the bottom or the right, then that's the right one to take, so it's really easy. And now these Minotaur zombies, that they're unrunnable, so we have to kill them. And but that'll definitely help them get their level up. If you're, like you said, you should be at 18 and a half. That's some enemies you can use to get to 19.
You also mentioned that this maze looks a bit confusing. I can tell everyone out there, this whole game might look very confusing, and you might get confused when you have to look around where you have to go. But if you did this a few times, then it's pretty easy. I think actually the hardest thing about this game is like to memorize where you have to go, but it's actually not really hard. So
yeah, it's totally learnable in an afternoon, which is really, really nice. So you do 3-4 runs and you just know where everything is, and it's really nice. It's not super complicated. It's really easy to pick up and a lot of fun to play over and over, in my opinion. I just love doing races because you never know what's going to happen. Almost every run you'll see something that you've never seen before, so that kind of makes it a fun game to play.
On Marsh's end, we just saw he picked up the healing staff. The healing staff is very important, like you already mentioned, for two reasons. The first is we're gonna glitch it into lottery ropes. Yeah, these lottery ropes helping us to increase our healing.
Yeah. Oh, we've got a problem here.
Oh
On
boy.
Marshe's end, it's a Mind Flayer ambush, and the thief escapes. Those Mind Flayers are horrible because they can do a move that will potentially paralyze all of your characters, and they can also just attack you and instantly kill you. So, you say he got those characters all, one dead, two paralyzed, and chose to try and run and succeeded. They're not difficult to run from, but they're not guaranteed either. So that was kind of risky, but fortunately was able to survive that. So sorry to interrupt you about the healing staff there.
Yeah, no worries. I think there was something more serious going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, we need the healing staff to equip the lottery ropes, and we need 2 lottery ropes to increase the amount of healing we do in the final boss. Otherwise, we would have to buy Hilaga, and for that we need our white mage on level 32. So the healing staff not only helps us to get the lottery ropes, but it also helps us or prevents that we have to grind our white mage more levels.
Yeah, so that's a very important item. And the gauntlets that we get, that'll also let us glitch the golden staff, which we use at the very end of the game, which will also boost our magic dealing ability for our white mage. So between those two items, we can we'll be able to heal enough with that mid-level healing spell in order to counteract most of what Chaos can do. He does have a few moves that can do a little bit more than you can heal, which can be a problem if he uses several of them back to back, but we'll see. Hopefully that won't happen.
And if you wanna try at home to do this run without the healing staff, I can't recommend it because I did an all boss race against Cruel the other day and thought, okay, what can go wrong if I don't pick up the healing staff? Yeah, that was a terrible idea, I can tell you.
Yeah, you definitely need that one. So here was the NPC he was talking about. It's Bahamut is the guy who will give you the class change. So Marsh is now changed into a knight, ninja, white wizard, and black wizard. So in addition to having better stats, there's the mages can have better spells that they're able to purchase, and the ninja can actually start using magic as well. Although in this run we don't get any magic for the ninja. So speaking of spells, we're here in Melmond to pick up a couple of things. So here's white magic. We're going to buy the Hilara, the shop over here, the black magic shop to get teleports also in Melmond, and then we're going to head to Elfheim to get the final spell that we're going to need for the game.
Which is haste. And if you think about it, haste makes you faster, and being faster in the speedrun is very important.
Yeah. It's an interesting effect because, there is no ATB bar or whatever in this game. So in other Final Fantasy games, haste just makes you take turns faster. It's kind of the same, except it all just happens at once here. And you can do basically twice as many hits, which is essentially twice as much damage.
And while Reboot is making his way to the Dragon Cave, we see that Marsh entered the Mount Gold, where we're gonna fight the next chaos. And you also noticed that he tried to run on these lava patterns. The reason for that is he always takes one hit if he run on the lava, but there you won't get any encounters on that, so you want to try to run on the lava as much as possible.
Yeah, it's definitely possible since you take so many steps on the lava tile to actually not get any encounters. And in fact, I don't think Marsh has taken any so far. Yeah, all the way through. No encounters.
Nice.
So that's an excellent,
Very good.
excellent Mount Gold for him. So here comes Merilith, the second boss, and she'll go down in 2 to 3 hits. Yep, 2 hits.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good. And may I ask you, are you familiar with Final Fantasy IX?
I've played it once a long time ago. I've not, and I've seen the speed run of it, but I've never actually done it myself, and I haven't played it for probably 10 years.
Well, for those who are familiar with Final Fantasy IX, a little bit of off topic. At the end of Final Fantasy IX, you actually have to defeat the 4 chaoses, which are the same in this run. And their Merilith is actually pretty dangerous, because if you don't keep an eye on your HP, then you actually can rip on that fight. But Merilith here is, yeah, a piece of cake.
Yeah. I always like it when bosses from other games show up in a different game, like we see in post-content dungeon for this game. We get the Final Fantasy 3, 4, 5, and 6 bosses. And if I remember correctly, when I was playing Final Fantasy 4, the after years, there's a lot of previous bosses from other games in the final area there. So that's always a lot of fun.
So the upcoming part is a bit tricky, because you have to again collect some items and fly around. The next chaos we're gonna defeat is Kraken and the Sunken Shrine, but in order to enter that, we need something to breathe underwater, and we get that item, which is called Oxyale.
Oxyale, yeah.
Oxyale, yeah. Sorry, don't know how to pronounce it. But yeah, we need that, and we get it from a fairy, but that fairy we first have to release. And we saw Marsh have bought a fairy bottle in a desert caravan, and that's actually the fairy we need to talk with in order to get the Oxydale.
So he releases the fairy at the beginning of the town, and then you have to walk all the way through that town, through the forest here to find her. But then we'll have the Oxyale to be able to breathe underwater. And the other item you may have noticed that was bought at the caravan was some Giant's tonics, and we're going to probably need those for Chaos for a couple of characters. So sometimes we'll just buy 11 of them because it's faster to just hit up instead of buying 2 exactly. But we shouldn't need more than 2. But we've got plenty of them now.
Alright, Merilith is down on Reboot's end, and while he is gonna get all the items we talk about, Marsh is going to enter the Sunken Shrine, which is actually one of the coolest dungeons, but it is a very annoying one when it comes to encounters, because there are actually 3 different encounters you can't run away from: the ghosts, the Sahagin princes or chiefs, and the water elementals.
Yeah. Yeah, so like about half of the encounters are unrunnable. So it's kind of annoying. And this dungeon's interesting because there's two parts to it. The first part we're going to do is we're going to get this Rosetta Stone, which is at the top of the dungeon. And then after we get that, then we're going to go back and down to the bottom of the dungeon and defeat Kraken. So it's not a long walk if you know where to go to get the Rosetta Stone. He's almost at the stairs now. But you see he's run into a couple of these ghosts, which are, like was mentioned, unrunnable. But fortunately only two, so he's able to use his sword and not have to take the time to Judgment Staff. And you'll also notice there's no encounters on this floor. The floor with the Rosetta Stone, it is encounterless, so you don't have to worry about them once you get to this floor. So now that he's got the Rosetta Stone, he's going to use the Black Mage to use Teleport to go down, and that takes you down one floor, so he'll actually use it twice to get back down to the third floor, which is where he entered. So that's pretty quick, and so now he's on the third floor and can start heading down to the depths of the Sunken Shrine for Kraken. So Reboot's there, picking up the Oxyale, so he's not that far behind. It seems like he's a little behind, but depending on encounter luck in Sunken Shrine and some of the other upcoming dungeons, he could come back at this point. He's not that far behind. All right, so here on this encounter, these are the Sahagins. You definitely just want to use a Judgment Staff. If the mages use the Judgment Staff, they'll do enough damage to kill them all. You just defend with the Warrior and Thief because their magic stat isn't high enough to do enough damage to kill the blue ones. They would kill the red ones, but not the blue, but either of the mages will kill all of them, so that's what you want. And down on Reboot's side, he was trying to run from that Ice Gigas Winterwolf, which is not a runnable combo. So it looks like he realized his mistake and is attacking this round.
But to be fair, that encounter is actually a really common one to forget.
Yeah. Yeah, and Winterwolves by themselves are runnable, but with the Ice Gigas, it's not. So do you want to talk about the menu that Marsh is doing right now?
Yeah, sure. First of all, in that room, there's the chest where we pick up the light axe. When you open up the chest from the right side, you don't get an encounter, or at least not almost. And now about the menu, we're going to glitch Survival Vest on our Warrior, Thief, and Black Mage. And on the White Mage, we're gonna glitch 2 Lordly Robes, which we are talking about a bit earlier, which increase our amount of healing for the upcoming bosses. And
I noticed Marsh actually glitched the Golden Staff already. That is not a good move. The Golden Staff does barely any damage, and you definitely want your White Mage to do damage. It'll allow you to finish some of these boss fights in one cycle or one set of turns instead of 2. So it's fine to glitch it at that point, although usually we glitch it right before Chaos.
Yeah.
But he should have glitched the Barbarian Sword back on. So we'll see if it gets the Barbarian Sword put back on, or just goes through the rest of the game with the Golden Staff. But I don't recommend that.
Yeah, because there are still a few bosses that we have to fight, so any damage can help us, even if they die very, very fast.
Yeah, in that case, in Kraken, it didn't matter because the first 2 attacks killed him. So, oh, and we may have a sound glitch here on
Nice.
Marshe's side. There's a glitch that can happen where basically the game just decides not to load any sound. And sometimes it happens just temporarily, like for one battle, and sometimes it's permanent. So we'll see what it is, but I don't hear any sound now, so I'm thinking this is the permanent one. But it may just so happen once, we get out of this cave, it'll start back up. But at this point, I kind of doubt it.
Also, this is one of the few Final Fantasies with a actually kind of, with a good audio glitch. Because there are other Final Fantasies that have a audio glitch too, and those ones are, well, if you haven't heard them before, then it's definitely tread-wrecking for your ears.
Okay, all right. Looks like Marsh is corrected and now has the barbarian sword. But yeah, this looks like the permanent sound glitch, so we may not hear any more sound from Marsh for the rest. I don't know on the Speed Gaming channel which stream had the sound, but it might be good to switch to Reboot.
Jack?
But yeah, Sacred Mikey said in chat, actually, this will save a little bit of time because not only is all the background music gone, but the jingle that you hear when you pick up a key item doesn't play, and it doesn't pause for the amount of time it would have taken. So he'll be able to pick those up immediately and start doing things and not have to listen to that. And that saves like 3 to 4 seconds per time. And there's a couple of those. So
that's actually very good.
Yeah.
So Barsh is already in the waterfall cave, which is probably one of the worst dungeons in the whole game because the amount of encounters you get is so ridiculous high. But the reason why we're gonna go there, the next and final chaos we wanna defeat is Tiamat, the wind chaos. But in order to enter his dungeon, we need 2 items. The first is the chime, and the second is the warp cube, and that warp cube we're going to get in this cave. And also, we talked about the ribbon earlier. We actually can glitch the ribbon on the party, but for that we first need the great axe, I think it was.
Gigantax.
Yeah. Gigantax. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, but we need the Gigantax in order to glitch the ribbon, and then we can glitch it on the characters. So
yeah, so it's pretty clever. So we take a ribbon, glitch it into the Gigantax, and then we take that Gigantax and glitch 4 ribbons. So we basically turned 1 ribbon into 4. So he's going to pick up the warp cube here from that robot, and you saw how fast that was. He just talked to the robot, and it's done. He didn't have to listen to that chime.
Yeah, that is equip the ribbon into a giant X. We equip the barbarian sword, and then the giant X into the ribbon on the shield slot, which doesn't soft lock the game. And then teleport out. All right. The next step we have to do is, in order to get the chime, we have to go to a place that's called Euphania. But the people that are living there can't speak English, so we have to learn their English. And in Melmont, there's an NPC who's gonna teach us how to speak Lithuanian. But for that, we need the item in order to, give me the item and I teach you how to speak it. And that item is the Rosetta Stone we picked up at the second shrine.
Yeah. So the guy who knows how to teach us Lithuanian is here in Melmund again, so we're going to visit it again. It's like the third time we've been to Melmund. Just for this purpose, just to get that, to learn Lithuanian. Yeah,
And
so
again,
let's say one of the nice things about that teleport is it lets us get out of towns without having to find the exit, which can be annoying sometimes. So very handy, especially in Lufenia, as you will see. So he's having to park the airship way up there and take a long walk to Lufenia because there are no closer parking spots for the airship. There's that one single spot. And there's a lot of unrunnable encounters that you can get on this walk. Anything involving a Minotaur zombie is unrunnable. And they appear a lot. So we'll hope not to get them, but we'll probably get some. So even though these Minotaur zombies are annoying because they take time to kill, they are kind of helping to improve his level and hit point situation. And now we're in Lufenia, where these NPCs, oh my gosh, look at this NPC here. He's blocking the way. Totally blocking the way and just wasting all the time. Finally was able to get through and talk to this one here. And this one has the chime, which, like you said, we need to get in the Mirage Tower. I also saw on Reboot's end, he actually got a green dragon in the Waterfall Cave, which is a 1 in 64 possibility encounter rate for that. If that guy ambushes you, he can use poison gas and wipe your party. So I actually like to make a save at Waterfall in a race just in case that would happen. It's extremely rare, but I have lost a run to that before, so...
So we see the ribbon menu on Reboot's end, and he's still a bit behind, but anything can still happen because we have 2 dungeons left before the final boss. And actually, the next one, the Flying Fortress / Mirage Tower, is not a very dangerous one, except for like one floor. And we really hope to see a big surprise there.
Yeah, Reboot's having some trouble here with this ribbon menu. I think he has the characters in the wrong order. But basically, the ninja and the knight are able to equip the Gigantax so they can perform the glitch onto the other characters. I think it looks like he's probably got it. So Marsh is now in the Mirage Tower, and this tower has an exceptionally high encounter rate. It's not uncommon to get maybe 15 encounters on this floor. 10 to 15, I would say, is average. If you can do it in less than 5, you're having a really good floor 2 of the Mirage Tower. Fortunately, there's not very many unrunnables in the Mirage Tower. I think the only one is a blue dragon, which is a 1 in 64 chance to show up, so you don't have to worry about unrunnables, but there's just a lot of encounters that just waste time.
And even if you get one of the runnables, they are very fast to kill.
Yeah, exactly. The blue dragons, I believe they can only be a single one, so it's really fast to just kill it.
And there's also the Evil Eye, which only appears at the Flying Fortress. But yeah, like the one we saw in the ice cave, we're gonna kill it very fast if he appears.
Yeah. It was actually a pretty decent, except for the ambushes, but the number of encounters was pretty good there for Marsh. So now you enter this room, and this is a spike tile that has that blue dragon we were talking about on it, which is unrunnable, so we'll kill it. So it will always appear there, but you can get it in a 1 in 64 on just a random tile. But so now there's that teleporter there at the top of the Mirage Tower that takes you up to the Flying Fortress. And this Flying Fortress is kind of a fun dungeon. There's a lot of branches, a lot of good treasure if you were doing this, on any other version. But since we already have everything that we kind of need, we're just going to go straight to Tiamat. So we're just going to take the most direct route here. There's that Evil Eye, which is an unrunnable encounter, but again, it's a quick kill.
And Flying Fortress has, in my opinion, the best dungeon soundtrack in the whole game. Unfortunately, if you, we have to wait for Reboot to get there because we still have the audio glitch on Mars End.
Yeah. So this floor that Marsh just got to in the Flying Fortress is kind of a loop. It's just basically a never-ending just grid. Like you can think of it like a city grid of just you can go north, south, east, west. And so the challenge, if you've not done it before, is to try and figure out where is the exit. And basically, if you just go two intersections in one direction and then 2 in a perpendicular direction, so you can go left then north or south then east, you'll get there. So anyway, so most people most people end up going left and up two spaces each and getting on here. So now we're on Tiamat's floor, which has a special encounter called Warmech, which is the strongest enemy in the game and the one that gives you the most experience in gold. It's a 1 in 64, so it's really rare to see it, but I understand we did have one already in this tournament. So, oh boy.
That's again the Mind Flayer ambush.
Yeah, we've got that Mind Flayer ambush.
Ooh.
And that the Mind Flayers, there's one enemy that can overrule the ribbon. The ribbon will not protect you from Mind Flayers paralyzing you. Yeah. So Marsh is wisely, I think, deciding to try and kill this group rather than try and run with one character. And this should do it. It's very lucky, but I believe saved at the beginning of this floor. That's something smart to do in a race, just in case Warmech ambushes you. But you also can run into that Mind Flayer ambush, which is just as bad.
Alright, Reboot now entered the Mirage Tower as well. While yeah, Reboots have entered the Mirage Tower, and Marsh is fighting Tiamat, and already dead.
Yep, that was a pretty quick kill. You can usually kill him in one round, but usually sometimes it takes a full 4 attacks to kill him. So yeah, so now Marsh has all 4 crystals, which unlocks the Chaos Shrine, and which is the final dungeon in the game. So he's definitely close to the end here. So yeah, so that's literally the only thing. There's no more shopping. There's no more finding any other items. We're just going to go straight to the Chaos Shrine. Okay, so the Chaos Shrine is right there where the first dungeon that we went to fight Garland at the very beginning of the run. But once we have the crystals in that center room where Garland was, we can use those crystals, the power of the crystals, to go back in time and defeat Chaos before he can take over the world in the past. So there's sort of a time loop going on where this keeps happening over and over. So our job is to break the time loop and defeat Chaos in the past so that he can't send the fiends forward into the future. It's a little complicated, but so I noticed Marsh didn't save here in the Chaos Shrine. That's something you kind of want to do, because there are some encounters that you can get here that can wipe you if you're unlucky. So we'll see. So yeah, those purple worms are they're unrunnable, but they're not very dangerous. They can't really do anything bad to you.
But if you beat them, there's actually a chance to get an emergency exit, which you don't need anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I suppose maybe it's useful in a casual playthrough if you're just overwhelmed with the Chaos Shrine and you just want to get out, but
yeah.
I'm not quite sure why they included that item here, but so Marsh is now fighting this. This is another spike tile with this Death Eye. He's kind of a pushover, just like the Evil Eye. One hit and he's gone. And now we're pulling out that loot that the princess gave us at the very beginning of the game after we saved her from Garland. And this loot is what allows us to progress further into the shrine. And in this version of the game, you just walk up to that stone and just press the X button and it automatically plays it. I believe in the NES version, at least, you actually had to pull it out of your inventory and explicitly, say, I want to use the loot. Whereas we don't have to do that with this version. Marsh getting no encounters on that floor, which is really good, because that has those Ice Gigas Winter Wolves, which are just really time-consuming battle. So if you can get past that floor, you're with no encounters, you're really doing good. So now we come to the White Dragons, which these guys are relatively easy to run from, but they cast Ice Storm, which can do a moderate amount of damage to you. And if you don't, like Marsh will survive this if he doesn't run, which he did run, but you can probably survive 4 of them, but not too many more than that. So yeah, so it's sometimes you just think about just killing them, but it's definitely faster to run. But it is risky. And here we are with 2 more, a second set of White Dragons. All right, he got away, so that's good. So Reboot's entering the Chaos Shrine now, so he's, a few floors behind, but it's not over. I mean, Chaos can kill you, so if that were to happen to Marsh, Reboot could still take it.
You also notice this cutscene at the beginning of the dungeon. This is also another bonus dungeon, which is called Labyrinth of Time. And if you run all bosses, you actually have to go there. It's a little dungeon with very cool mazes and challenges, and a very special boss at the end, I would say.
Yeah. So Marsh is healing up and saving here before Lich 2, which is a really good move because Lich 2 knows Flare. And Flare can kill characters and leave some characters with very few hit points, so it's really dangerous. But he actually ends up killing Lich before he's able to get any move off, so that's really good. So you'll notice we fought Lich again. We're going to actually fight all 4 of the elemental fiends again to defeat them in the past so that they don't come back to the present. So that was Lich. This is Marilith's floor. You'll notice the enemies on each of the fiends' floor correspond to their elemental power, and a lot of times the enemies that you would see in their dungeons. So you definitely know what's coming up when you see Fire Gigas and Fire Lizard. You're going to fight Marilith. Reboot is fighting these dragon zombies. It's worth noting that they can potentially drop a Mega Elixir, which is a nice item to have as a backup against Chaos. Mega Elixir will fully restore all characters who are alive's hit points and magic points. So that can be handy in a pinch if he gets you really down or he runs your white mage out of magic, which shouldn't happen, but it can if other things go wrong in the fight. So Marilith is down, and now we're on Kraken's floor.
Reboot is getting all these encounters.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, a lot of times you'll go into your run and you're like, okay, I beat Tiamat, I'm doing pretty good, and then this shrine will usually give you really great luck or really bad luck, it seems like.
And most of the time it's great luck when you're having a bad run.
Exactly.
Bad luck when you're having a good run.
Yeah.
Also, if you are very lucky and have the potential to PB, then you get a very shit chaos with Kuraja.
Yeah, chaos. I mean, you could, like you said, you can go through the shrine. Oh, shrine went great. I'm possible gonna PB, and then chaos just has so many different moves he can do that vary in terms of how long they take and how dangerous they are, that he can just completely ruin and just literally completely kill your run, and there's nothing you can do about it. So that was Kraken down, and now this is a very short floor, and in like 3 steps here, Marsh is going to fight Tiamat. He's going to take a safety save here. Not a bad idea. Tiamat can use Thunderbolt, some pretty powerful magic, and if he gets 2 of those off, you might have a little bit of a problem. Here Tiamat's using Scourge, which can instant kill you, except that we have the ribbon. So the ribbons on all the characters mean that Scourge will not do anything to us. So it's a good move to see from Tiamat. So that's Tiamat down.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that the Tiamat 2 fight is actually a little bit different than the others because you attack with all the characters except for the Black Mage. With him, you use haste on your ninja, which doubles the amount of attacks he get off and makes the fight a bit faster. But he got it without haste. But he will need it for the next boss, for the final boss, Chaos.
Yeah. Yeah, so Marsh is doing his final menu. He's putting the golden staff on the white mage and taking off the survival vest. By taking off that survival vest, we'll guarantee that the white mage will go last. And I say guarantee. There's an incredibly small chance that that won't happen, but it can happen. But we're about 99.99% sure to get that white mage to go last so she can heal after Chaos does his damage. So, and Marsh saved before, so if Chaos does, end it, he can just restart the save and, go again. Depending on how quickly that would happen, Reboot may still have a chance if that happens, but we'll just have to see. It's about I'd say that you probably have about an 80 to 85% chance of killing Chaos, but so
there we go, final boss.
Final boss. So it's going to use Giant's Tonics on the Black Mage and the Ninja. The Ninja was kind of borderline. 283 is about the lower end of semi-safe, but just for safety's sake, he used the Giant's Tonic, which gives 200 extra hit points to the Ninja and the Black Mage. So now everyone has enough hit points to survive anything that Chaos can throw. The only thing that Chaos can really do now that he's got those off is he can critical damage a character, and that can kill you. But other than that, it's looking pretty good for Marsh here. I believe Marsh's PB was like a 139, so this may be a PB depending on how quickly this goes.
Yeah, 139.47. And Rebot has a 142.33.
Yeah, I mean this should definitely be a PB, which is great. Okay, Tsunami is the one move you don't. Tsunami and Cyclone are moves you don't want to see. They do a lot of damage and their animation is long, but you can see like everybody survived with over 100 hit points, so he's not really in any danger, like I said, other than the crit. And here comes Cyclone. This move just takes forever. The animation for it's so long. So you really don't want to see that if you're looking for a good time, but I still believe that Marsh is going to PB here. I think he's only got about one more round left. Okay. Well, I guess there's one more after that. Earthquake, that's an instant kill move, but you're protected from it by the ribbon, so it's basically a free heal if Chaos uses it. And that's time for Marsh. Marsh wins the race, 138.55 nice. on the timer. Congratulations. And it looks like Reboot is now just saving right before Chaos, so we're going to go into the Chaos fight for Reboot. Okay, wow. So I'm looking at Reboot. His ninja has 290 HP, so using a Giant's Tonic is completely optional. And it looks like he's not going to do it, which is fine, I think. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So he's just going to use the Giant's Tonic. That gets an extra attack from the ninja, so that'll make the fight go that much quicker. But at 203 hit points, that Black Mage definitely needs at least 275. So now we're just going to go into this routine of just attacking with the Warrior and Ninja. White Mage will always do Hilara. Black Mage will use haste on all the characters until he's hasted himself, and then he'll start attacking as well. Okay, you saw there Chaos did a physical attack on the ninja, but it wasn't a crit, so it was fine. But if he crits, I mean, he can definitely just one-shot any character. So now he's in the phase where the Black Mage is attacking as well, so this is just going to just do a lot of damage to Chaos, and he's getting a lot of physical attacks, which is a good thing. That saves time. Physical attacks very quick versus a magic attack. Here, Chaos is using Slow Rub, but he used it on the White Mage, which was kind of a dumb move because the White Mage isn't attacking. And that's time for Reboot.
Nice.
141.53. I believe that's a PB for him as well.
Yeah, for both
So
PvE.
double PB.
But we got no Warmag, so
Yeah, no Warmag.
but this was a very, very good race. Both runners did very well.
Yeah, this was a really great race, like you said. Both runners, like, they got their PB, so they were on top of their games, and they'll probably keep improving throughout the tournament.
I mean, both of them still have at least 2 matches to go.
Yeah. This is the first week, so everybody's doing a match this week, and then there's 2 more matches to go, and so then we have like 8 groups of 4 people. The top 2 from each group will advance on to a double elimination tournament after the 3 weeks of group play. So it's going to be a fun tournament, and so there's definitely still, even for Reboot, there's room for him to still win 2 more matches and potentially get into the tournament.
And even if you are not as good as your opponent, this is Final Fantasy 1, and there is still a little amount of luck and RNG.
Oh,
so
sure.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. I think last year during the tournament, the world record holder at the time was Chrono Kirby, and he had a wipe he didn't save, and his opponent won because he forfeited. So anything can happen. So it's a lot of fun just to see what does happen. So I think this is the last tournament match of the day for today.
Let me check. Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, we have from week 1 3 more to go. Actually 2. Well, 1 maybe. The next one will be tomorrow at 2 p.m. CET, 8 a.m. EST. And the last week 1 match will be on January the 28th, which got a bit delayed, but
Yeah, I think that's Cruel's match. He's at a
Yeah.
marathon this weekend, so yeah. So then, but then we're just going to have a full slate of matches coming up in week 2 and week 3. So there's going to be a lot of fun Final Fantasy 1 action going on over the next 2 weeks and beyond as we get into the tournament as well.
yes, the fun part is about to coming. So there's still many more races to go, and I'm really looking forward to all those races.
Yeah, it's fun to just sit down and just watch the races and just because, like you said, you never know what's going to happen. So I don't know if there's anything else going on this channel or coming up, or I should look at the calendar.
If you like, we could have a little talk with the contestants if they want.
Yeah, if they want to come in, that would be good to get their thoughts on it. Okay, yeah. Beazle says the Super Metroid race going on at 11 p.m. Eastern tonight. So let's see if we can get either Marsh or Reboot or both of them in here, and then we'll probably raid somebody.
Try if someone.
I don't know if anybody's doing Final Fantasy.
Oh yeah, there we have.
Okay, great.
Yo.
Hey, what's up, guys? Great race.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, that was a lot of fun. I was really looking forward to it.
Yeah, you guys both PB'd, so that's amazing.
Not quite. I actually did have a PB. I just hadn't get it recorded. Actually, Double can vouch for me on there. I was actually on a marathon where he was commentating for me. I think it was like a 1:37 or something like that, but still really close to my PB. So it was still a really good run.
Yeah. Awesome.
I was just entirely disappointed by the lack of music at the end of it.
Oh yeah, we saw you got that music glitch. That's crazy that you got the permanent one. So
yeah, I've only ever seen it happen for like a few seconds, and then the music comes right back as soon as you leave.
Yeah, but it can happen permanently, and you actually do save some time. You don't have to listen to all the item pickup jingles and things like that. So
right, I realized that when I was in Lufini and I talked to that guy 3 times. Which still saved time as opposed to talking about once normal.
Yeah.
Right. So, Marsh, yeah, you won your first match. How do you feel now?
I'm actually a little hungry. I haven't eaten anything today. Aside from that, okay, pretty good. I was really looking forward to this. Well, just the tournament in general. I've been wanting something like this for a while with a game I'm decent at.
Awesome. So what was like was there any point in the run where you were kind of worried about how things were going? There's a couple of close calls with some Mind Flayers. I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say Mind Flayer ambush number 1. Number 2, not so much because I literally just saved. But number 1, I was like, welp, if this is going to happen.
Yeah, that's why I take too many saves during the races. I'd rather take the 10 seconds to do the save than completely lose my run. So you got to balance out how much is too much, but yeah.
Oh, did
it can scare you.
I think my game just soft locked. At the end of that the slow list. Oh yeah, I think it just soft locked. Okay. I was waiting for the clear data because I was going to save it.
Oh yeah.
The auto glitch has another issue.
No, that could be actually. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, it's minor in this case. I didn't really need it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was great though.
I had
Just
a
kinda
little bit
surprised
of
it was
trouble
over
with
so
the
quick.
equipment glitch.
Oh yeah, when I put the golden staff on her a little too soon.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as I did that, it's
Oh.
like right after I got through Kraken, it's like I did that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you would notice because she didn't actually go
Oh,
take a turn during Kraken. I thought, oh gosh, he's not going to notice that until the next boss, but you did, so that's good.
well, I thought about it afterwards. It's like, wait, did I? And I'd rather take the 2 seconds to look, and if I need to fix it, I can do it then.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I thought about that. It's like I've never done that before, but I don't know.
Reboot, any thoughts from you?
Yeah, just a lot of trouble with the equipment glitch. I always sometimes equip the item instead of switching to the other character, and then you have to fix that, and your menu is
Yeah, I saw you
messed
had
up.
some trouble there with the ribbon glitch, but
Yeah, I was in the wrong character,
yeah,
but they were not in the wrong order, like you said. It's just it was on the wrong character,
yeah,
and also no black garb on the warrior. That was not a mistake. I don't know if the notes have been updated, but in the old notes, the knight has knight's armor till he gets the survival vest. Because
well,
he
the
takes
knight,
all the hits, he needs more.
yeah, the knight should have the thief's armlets. You should be glitching them in at the elf castle, and then of
Oh.
course you can't do the black garbs on the warrior because of the way the glitch works. The item of the glitch is the item that you glitch is only equipable by the warrior, so you can't get it there. But
on my notes, the warrior keeps knight armor.
yeah,
It was in the old speedrun notes. I don't know. Maybe it has been updated, but
yeah, I would definitely recommend getting the thief's armlet.
yeah, for running. But he takes a lot of damage. So if he keeps the knight's armor, he can tank it.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I will check the notes. Maybe that got updated because I'm pretty sure in the old notes it was like this to keep him on the knight's armor.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe that explains why I can't run from so many encounters.
Yeah, I think that probably would do that because, yeah, the thief's armlets are definitely important for everyone to have. So, all right. Any other thoughts from anybody?
Well, if the runners don't want to say anything, I would like to say something. I mean, Sigma, thank you very much for commentating with me, and Fiesel, thank you very much for the restream. And the runners, thank you very much for that awesome race. It was very, very close. And I really hope we're going to see some more cool and close races in the tournament.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's been nuts so far.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Having done the tournament last year, I was definitely excited when they announced the second one. It'll be just as much fun this year. So.
Oh yeah.
Well, I got a PB. Can't complain about it.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
at least
right.
something.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I guess if there's nothing else, then we can do a raid. It looks like maybe we can do the NLG organization, which is it's a speedrun marathon based in the Netherlands, and Cruel, who's one of the admins and one of the top runners of this game, is there. I don't know if he's probably not running right at this moment, but
I actually think so. I saw Lufia.
he's running Lufia.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was running Lufia too, I believe. So yeah, well let's go ahead and give him a raid. So I'll put that in the chat.
Yep.
And do we have a raid message?
I mean, we didn't have the warm hack, so there's nothing to hype about.
Yeah, well, let's just say no Warmac.
No Warmac hype.
No Warmac hype. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and raid the NLG and give them that raid message, no Warmac hype. All right. So I don't know. I'm not restreaming it, so someone will have to shut down the channel, but let's go ahead and raid them. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you later.
See ya.
Take it easy.
You too.